Hey, what's up everyone? So before I dive into Creed 2, I just want to say that the first Creed film came out in 2015, and I was really skeptical about this one because it was so good and Ryan Coogler did an amazing job on that film, and I was just like, how can they top that? Either way, we're going to find out today in my review for Creed 2. Creed 2 takes place a few years after the end of the first film. Basically, Adonis Creed has kind of worked his way up, and he finally gained the title of World Heavyweight Champion. Now that he's got all this fame and glory, Ivan Drago sees this as a chance to seize his honor that was stolen from him by Rocky all those years ago. So basically, Ivan Drago and his son challenge Adonis Creed, and we have our movie. So right off the bat, I want to talk about one of the weaker points in this film, and that is that the movie just is a very safe film. What I mean by that is the plot is very simplistic. I mean, you can really see how predictable this movie is as it goes along. Don't get me wrong, there is a few curveballs thrown into the mix. And that doesn't mean that I didn't enjoy this film. The side characters, the acting, the score, the just all-around brutal fights in this film definitely make up for that simplistic plot. Another one of the weaker points to kind of branch off from the predictable plot is this movie was very, very reminiscent of Rocky IV. I mean, I'm all for nostalgic moments, quotes, character interactions, stuff like that, but a lot of the plot points in this movie were just spot on from the fourth film. It's not too much of a spoiler, but the main fight in this film is the same exact place Ivan and Rocky fought all those years ago. So switching over to the positives in this film and what I liked about it is, I really enjoyed seeing Adonis Creed just sort of interact with everyone. Him and his wife and Rocky, and just, I loved all of the interaction and just seeing him as an actual person and not this boxing icon, just to see what he's like behind the scenes and just struggling to make really important life decisions in this film. They really break down his character, and that's what I really loved about it. Sylvester Stallone did a really good job as usual. They did a really cool character arc with him in this film that I was really surprised by. It's just so enjoyable to see him and Adonis side by side, kind of having this almost father-son dynamic. One thing I was kind of disappointed about Rocky's character was, in the first Creed film, he's diagnosed with cancer and it's just this complete shock and they don't know what to do. Rocky doesn't want to go through treatment. But in the second one, they touch upon that aspect a tiny bit, but it just seems so lazily done. They just kind of shrug it off in the middle of a conversation. I'm like, really? I thought it would have been a bigger deal than that. The biggest surprise of this film was Ivan Drago. I didn't really expect so many layers to this character. You really feel for him and just see it from his perspective. After all these years, he's just still not over that defeat from Rocky all those years ago, and what we're left with is a completely broken man. And I think it's awesome that even at the age of 74, Michael Buffer is still the boxing announcer in like every Rocky movie. You know, the guy that's just like, let's get ready to rumble! I was watching a lot of behind the scenes stuff on this film before I saw it, and there's actually a scene in one of the hospital lobbies where Drago and Stallone are at it again, even at their old age. Even Lundgren was saying in interviews that during the third act there was a lot of scenes that they completely reshot, so I'm guessing the whole outcome of the final act might have been different. Despite fans hating on some of the later movies in the Rocky franchise, true fans are going to be happy because they see a specific cameo in this movie and it's so well done. I'm always excited to see these movies personally because I'm a Philly guy. I live right outside the city and a lot of this stuff is shot in Philly. The Rocky Steps, the musical performance, they filmed at the Fillmore, and a lot of the back alleyway shots and stuff were all shot on location. And I'm just like, been there, drove through there, was there to see a concert last week. To wrap things up, guys, this was a solid entry in the Rocky franchise. There was a lot of depth to the characters that were in this film. Although the plot points were very predictable, simplistic, and just reminiscent of Rocky IV in general, the characters, the action sequences, even the musical score in this movie do make up for that. And if you're a fan of the Rocky franchise, if you were a fan of the first Creed movie, you're gonna leave the theater happy regardless. Check this out, guys. 7.5 out of 10.